as a people, inherently and historically, opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host.
This is Sammy, your co-host.
Hope everyone's having a good day. I am exhausted. I gotta work tonight. I was supposed to be off tonight, but one of my buddies I love to death is doing some stupid shit right now. So I'm exhausted. Working 6 days this week, and it looks like, honestly, probably for the next month at least, I'm going to be working 6 days. So, fun, more money, you know, if they pay me right, because honestly, the lady who does our paychecks, she's like renowned for just fucking stuff up. Kind of gets on my nerves too, man, because it's like, don't mess with my money, dude. You know, you can treat me like crap, whatever, all that jazz, but when you start messing with my money, that's when I get real pissy real quick, you know. But besides being exhausted and not being able to sleep, you know, that's about it. What do you got going on?
Food.
We're going to be talking about some pirate ghosts today, man. I don't know. It's a good combination. I love pirates, and I love ghosts. You know what I mean?
A pirate ghost would be neat.
Do you want to read that one?
Sure.
Okay.
Did I already bookmarked?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pirate's house. Hey now. Savannah, Georgia. You have to take some risks to find adventure, said Marion. I don't want adventure, only a decent meal, said her husband. Jack Moore could just taste a good seafood dinner.
I love seafood.
Yeah, I would like to have more of it.
I like crab.
I'm starting to. Yeah, I like crab, actually, as well.
I need to take you to Red Lobster.
I want to try that new place, though, that... Oh, shoot. What is it called? Storming crab?
Yeah, it's like deep south. Like,
yeah.
Throw it like in a big pot or whatever.
Yeah, that place. And we could just do one meal. They say it's so big, like, 2 people can eat off of that, and you're probably still going to take some home.
Your cup overfloweth.
Yep. So it's like, yes, I am willing to do that, you know?
Right.
Save some money that way. Pay one big price of whatever it is, but for a meal that's going to feed us both, because we're both small eaters.
Right.
So, I mean, and like I said, we'll probably have some to bring home. Okay, sorry about that. Back to the story. They had strolled along the Savannah waterfront most of the afternoon, intrigued by the variety of shops housed in the brick buildings that had once been cotton warehouses. At about 5:30, they had begun talking about where to have dinner. Let's ask one of the natives, suggested Marion. Jack groaned. Do you remember that little hole in the wall in San Diego? The last time you asked a native, it was terrible. Look at that man over there, in the faded blue... Faded blue what?
Dungarees.
Dungarees. I'll bet he would know. All right, you ask him, and then I can blame you later. The man was sitting on a bench, shifting through a number of fishing lures. Visitors, are you? And you want to know where to get a good meal? Well, I suppose that depends on your taste and your wallet. Where are you folks from? We're from Massachusetts. Both of our families have always lived on the coast of Marion. Mine too, he said. What do you think of the Pirate's House restaurant? Asked Jack. Maybe I ought to indulge my wife. She's always saying that one of her ancestors was a pirate. Well, join the club, the man replied. My grandfather used to say that we were descendants of Captain Bartholomew Roberts, one of the boldest buccaneers of his day. They called him the Crimson Pirate because he often wore red. We really ought to introduce ourselves. I'm Marion Moore, and this is my husband, Jack. Glad to meet you. I'm Bart Roberts. You were asking about the Pirate's House. The food is fine. I eat there myself now and then, but sometimes some of the goings-on there bother me a little. He looked down at the lure he was tying on his line. You mean loud music, that sort of thing? No, I didn't mean that. Well then, what bothers you? It's other things. Things like, well, it's hard to say.
Do you hear that thump?
Oh, this house creaks and thumps all the time.
Does it?
Yes, I hear it a lot of time over that way.
Yeah.
And that one, that way is new.
Thornage, man, hit us up in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
I posted a video talking about, like, pretty much like the occult origin of, waving.
Yeah.
Like the Nephilim.
How?
Yeah, that was to check if you were like Nephilim, if you had 6 fingers or whatever.
Yeah.
He, Thornage, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Thornage in the comments basically said, you can hear like a kid screaming in the background during the video. And I was listening, I was like, yeah, I'll be damned. But he's like, he said, I hope your new place ain't haunted, man. It's like, dude, I don't know. Honestly, every place that I've lived in, my little brother Luke has basically said he gets creeped out. Like, he feels like there's always an energy. And it's like,
maybe it's just you.
Well, he's not the only one. You know, I've had other people tell me different things, you know, about my house and stuff. And it doesn't bother me. But it's like, well, when you have literally a gigantic collection of occult items and stuff laying around, you know, or when you just dabble with, I mean, I've dabbled with witchcraft, we go ghost hunting, that shit's gonna stick with you.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I pretty much opened a portal.
Yeah, so like I said, it's just you.
Right. So I'm not even surprised. So when people say that type of stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm so used to it.
Now, you know me. I obviously like ghost hunting as well. However, I keep in mind, there are these kids that live around here, and I've heard them scream at times, you know, being crazy little kids.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it is haunted. No. I'm not saying that it was paranormal.
I was saying it more for Thornage, just so they know that there are lots of little kids. And like, I just heard a scream a second ago, coming outside from the window. So it's just.
Hey, I'm kind of glad that I'm not like. Well, I'm not glad. I would like to be a bigger YouTuber and stuff, but with the conspiracy community, they'd be like, Abe's got an underground tunnel or a dungeon. He's got kids locked up somewhere. You know what I mean? That's just my paranoid conspiracy brain was automatically like, man, people are gonna think I'm into like child trafficking or something crazy.
Oh my goodness, you're so funny.
Did you hear that noise in the background? What noise?
Okay, so let's see. They just introduced themselves. Roberts just looked down at the knot his weathered hands were tying and shook his head. Don't pay any attention to an old sea dog like myself. You folks will like it. The place has an interesting atmosphere. Is your boat tied up near here? That's her right there, the Mary Ann. She's named after my wife, although I'm a widower now. I took her out every morning at sunup, and we're back here by late afternoon. Some days the catch is quite good. It certainly beats teaching at a university. Where did you teach? Asked Jack. The University of Oklahoma. And you just left it all? Yep. It gave me the feeling of being locked down, or landlocked. So I decided to come back home. My family has been in the commercial fishing business here for years. Have you ever regretted your decision? No. I have too many seagoing ancestors to want to spend my life in a classroom. How about being our guest for dinner? Jack asked. You folks don't need me along. It would be a real treat for us. You can tell us about Savannah, and you and Marion can swap pirate stories. You've talked me into it. Let me go by my place and change. That's great. Marion and I will have a few oysters at a raw bar, and then meet you in front of the pirate's house at 7 o'clock. They were waiting in the parking lot when Bart Roberts drove up. The pirate's house is a rambling old frame building on East Broad Street, not far from the waterfront, and was once an inn for Savannah seamen. Its shutters are painted blue, a custom along the coast of South Carolina and Georgia. The color blue is believed to be a protection against evil spirits.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. You alright?
Yeah, skin just sticking against skin, and I peeled it apart.
Which, I threw that theory out about my mom's house, man.
That's why she painted it blue?
I don't think that's why she did it. She just likes blue, but
Yeah.
that it's probably not even haunted anymore because of that, maybe. I mean, if you're following the rules to this paranormal stuff, I mean, some of it I think is kind of silly. I don't know. There's always like little rules like, oh, you know, if you paint this blue, it'll keep demons and ghosts away, or if you put salt down. There is that part of me that's like, this is a little ridiculous. Like, really? Like, salt keeps demons away? Salt? Come on, man. Like, I don't know. It's just, that's one of the rules that you see popping up a lot, you know. I try not to be negative, but
Honey, it's
some
like,
of it does seem, you can't help but laugh at it, like,
well, it's like a superstition.
yeah.
Some superstitions sound silly. They don't sound like they're like, oh, that's really going to do something.
Right.
Yeah, where was I? Rainbow fan, blue. Okay. Well, Marion, you and Bart are entering the old haunts of your ancestors, joked Jack, as the trio walked up the wooden steps of the porch. This part of the city was like the Barbary Coast in Africa, said Bart, after they had ordered. It was an area where men were drugged and shenanigans.
Yeah. Shanghai.
Oh, Shanghai. There we go. I knew I wasn't saying that right. And when they awoke, they found themselves on a vessel out at sea. Not far from this house, the Savannah River forms a half moon, yet it's still fairly deep. Ships that drew 12 feet of water could ride within 10 yards of the bank. My grandfather said that pirates who came here were on the lookout for men and boys to kidnap. They would take them out through an underground passage to the river and load them, unconscious, into a small boat to take them to the ships lying in wait a few yards offshore. As time goes, it hasn't been so long since Savannah swarmed with sailors night and day. They were of all nationalities. Dang. Many were pirates who swaggered along the streets sporting cutlasses, swords, or a brace of pistols. The Lafitte brothers made Savannah their headquarters for a while, and Jean Lafitte married a local girl named Mary Morton. Tell me more about the underground passage, said Marion. It's here, just as it's always been, but let's eat our meal while it's hot. They were almost through when Marion said to her husband, Jack, where are all those loud, rough voices coming from? What in the world are you talking about? It sounds as if some coarse, crude fellow is shouting. Do you mean that party at the table over there? They're just having a good time. Don't let it upset you. I'm not talking about them. Marion said impatiently, Jack, don't you hear that man's horrible, loud voice calling out? No, I don't. Bart laid his hand soothingly on Marion's arm. I'm not sure I hear what you do, but I do hear an undertone of voices at times. Of course, anyone can hear that. Marion, tell me what words you hear. I'm not sure I can do that, but let's all be quiet for a few minutes, and I'll try. For a little while they were silent, and then Marion's face clouded. I hear it again. What do you hear? Her face turned white, and she shook her head. Bart, do you know where the opening is to the underground tunnel? Yes. Jack, do you mind waiting here alone for the check? I want to see that passage. Go ahead. Marion followed Bart out of their dining room into another and still another until they came to a small storage area. It's back here, he said, pushing some furniture to one side. There, in front of them, was a hole in the floor. It was the mouth of a tunnel. I don't think we should try to go down there. Do you still hear anything? Asked Bart. Marion shook her head, and he turned to go back. Suddenly, her hand seized his arm. Now! That's the voice! Do you hear it? Bart stepped over to the edge of the tunnel, and his face changed.
It's always tunnels, man.
They echo.
Well, just in general, like with any of these conspiracy stuff, and I've noticed that's a trend. That there's tunnels under all this shit. Like, always. It's weird. Which, I mean, they were child trafficking, the pirates and shit. They were saying basically they're kidnapping boys and shit.
And men, yeah, anyone they could drag onto their ships to make them work for them.
It's essentially child trafficking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, child trafficking has been going on for ages. That book I've been reading about the Japanese one?
Yeah.
It talks about child trafficking, man.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
By the Catholic Church?
Oh, not even just them. But how the Jesuits definitely helped to continue it.
Well, the Jesuits are the Catholic Church.
From my understanding through that book, they're Catholic, yes, but at the same time they're kind of separate. Because the Jesuits were such aggressive about it.
Yeah.
They were like of their own occult of sort. They kind of got to run free.
Right.
And especially because they traveled so far so the Romans wouldn't hear until like months later that they did something. And it's like, well, shit, we can't do anything about it now. It's already happened.
Sam Tripoli believes that the Jesuits are running the world, ruling the world pretty much.
They could be. Because again, I mean, from the sounds of this, they took over different things like child trafficking and everything.
Yeah. We're going to do an episode on that whenever you are finished reading it.
Yeah.
We're both finishing. We're going to do another episode, too, on something I'm reading, so we're backlogged like crazy.
That's good. That means we have episodes to come.
Yep.
Okay, so they are hearing voices in the tunnel. Who in the devil? That is one of the most evil voices I've ever heard, bar none. He's calling me. Tell me what you hear. He's calling McGraw over and over. That was my maiden name. I must go down there. He doesn't mean you, said Bart, grasping Marion's arm. See if you can make out any other words. Darby McGraw is what he is saying. By this time, they had been joined by Jack. What else do you hear? Persisted Bart. This is crazy. Let's get out of here, interrupted Jack, seeing his wife's terrified face. Wait a minute, Jack. Now listen hard and tell me what else you hear, Marion. She stepped closer to the tunnel. Just the jumble of voices. No, he's shouting again. And he's saying, prompted Bart, fetch aft the rum. McGraw, fetch me the rum. That's what he's saying, but why my name? It's not you he's calling. Let's get her out of here, Jack. What in Hades was all that about, Bart? Yes, what was it about? Echoed Marion weakly. Marion, tell me something. Do you have unusually sensitive hearing? Do noises bother you that don't bother most people?
She's got that sixth sense, is what it is.
I can't explain what happened back there, but perhaps we can put some of it together, Bart spoke quietly, his voice subdued. There are many stories about the pirate's house, but probably the best authenticated one is that the infamous Captain Flint died there, and his ghost still haunts the rooms of the old building. It's not surprising that his ghost can't rest, for Robert Louis Stevenson wrote that, in sheer wickedness, Blackbeard was a child compared to Flint. And Stevenson was right. Bart continued. Some say that Flint was a fictitious pirate, but I think he was real. On the night he died, he was delirious, and he shouted again and again to his shipmate, "Fetch me some rum." The name of that shipmate was Darby McGraw. "But it seemed to come from the passageway," said Marion, puzzled. "You heard it when we were sitting at the table, too, didn't you?" "That's true, I did." "Have you had experiences like this before, hearing sounds that other people can't?" asked Bart. "Yes. My father was like that, and I share it, but to a much lesser degree. Haven't you seen a flock of blackbirds covering an entire treetop? The tops of several trees, all singing. Suddenly, at exactly the same moment, there's a fluttering of wings, and they all soar into the air at once. Above the racket, there must have been some signal, and they all heard it. Of course I've seen that. I'm a seaman, and I know that a school of whales playing on the surface of the water, with the curve of the earth between them, will sometimes die simultaneously. The signal has sounded, but it is too deep for us on deck to hear, although we may feel the vibrations. And that is what you think about the voice in the pirate's house? I only know that there are sounds that most human beings can't hear. The pitch is too high, or too low, or perhaps too far away in time.
Frequencies, man.
Mm-hmm. Bart reached for his watch and then rose. "I've enjoyed my supper, but now I must go." "I wonder if there are things that human beings can't see, too," said Marion. But Bart was gone. The Pirate's House, now a famous restaurant, is located at 20 East Broad at Bay Street in Savannah, Georgia. It is surrounded by a 10-acre historic area. The Herb House, said to be the oldest building in Georgia, is part of the complex. For reservations, call area code 912-233-5757 if you guys want to go check it out. I know I want to go check it out. That's freaking awesome.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of got into talking about that on the last podcast. I like that Nancy Roberts, she puts all the info so you can go check it out. I don't know. It always kind of irritated me when you're like watching or listening to like a ghost show and they're like, "Oh, don't do this at home," you know, and then it's like, but I can, and it's like, okay, I mean, I get that there's like ghost hunters who are like professionals. Like honestly, it's just from experience, from like years of them doing it, but like, it's not like you can go to college for ghost hunting or something. Like, you just kind of go out and do it. Like, what makes you special to where you're allowed to do it? But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I do. I feel they do it because, for one, they don't want the competition, and or they just don't want to be found out that they're lying about something because you go and now personally investigate it.
And nothing happens.
Well, not even just that. Let's say you recreate a test that, like, such and such thing happened, but you want to retest it.
Right.
And you actually learn that it could easily fall over because of this or because of that, or you might see evidence of a setup or something.
Right. Well, I mean, that's... Honestly, man, we have, like, what is it, like, I think, like, 25 different ghost videos on this channel. We really don't catch that much, man. I mean, we go out with an open mind, like, hey, we invite anything, you know, to show up or that we can hear. Like, we've caught, what, like, one EVP, maybe an orb, like...
Yeah, we've not caught too much yet.
I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do it, but I think a lot of people get bored and stuff with our ghost hunting videos because it's like... But it's like, I'm sorry, you can't force, you know, ghosts to show up, you know. I don't know. I just... From my experience, like... I would never tell other people, hey, don't go ghost hunting, or you're doing it wrong, you're going to get possessed, or all that. I'm not saying that that can't happen, but I don't know, I'm not going to be that guy who's like, don't try this at home, you know, because Here's my honest opinion about ghost hunting. If you go, it's fun. Like at night, you end up scaring yourself more than a ghost would be scaring you. That's the fun part of it. Is literally something will brush up against you and you'll end up screaming or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we kept thinking that we saw stuff at the Lancaster Cemetery.
Right.
I mean, some of it might have actually been something, and some of it might have just been our imagination.
Right.
Because we're spooking ourselves into it. Because we're expecting something.
But yeah, I mean, most of it, man, you're gonna be bored doing it. Honestly. I mean, some of the places you just kind of like, you feel silly doing it while you're just recording nothing and nothing's happening. But if anything, I mean, it's got its value in urban exploration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for anyone who's into like urban exploration, like checking out abandoned places or just in general, it's kind of fun because it makes you feel young again, like you're sneaking into places and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. That's all I really honestly have to say on it. I don't really have anything else.
No, I mean, I agree with you.
What do you think of that story, though?
I thought it was interesting, and I think it would be neat. However, if that is the most of whatever happens there is that you might hear something, then yeah, it's definitely one of those places that it's definitely going to be almost like a 50-50 or even maybe a 70-30 of some people are going to say, yeah, I've heard things, and then some people are going to be like, I've never heard anything.
Right. I think, too, honestly, like, she had that sixth sense. She was the only one that could hear it.
Bart could, but only a little bit, because like you
Right.
said, his ability was lesser than that of his father's.
I think it's honestly like when you open yourself up,
Yeah.
you receive it, you know?
Yeah. But I feel like even still, some people might have a blockage for whatever reason.
I feel that way. I feel sometimes, man, like I'm trying to open myself up to, like, God or, like, whatever, and I'm just, like, sitting there and I'm like, I don't feel anything.
Same.
I mean, I'm not trying to be negative or discouraging. It's just, that's why I've struggled, honestly, with spirituality a lot. Like, sometimes I feel, I mean, it's interesting to me, but there's sometimes I'm just like, I'm trying to, like, feel God or whatever, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm going to try to connect to God, then I need to first go through all my shit. Because so far something I've learned about meditation is that your mind is not going to quiet, actually. It first has to go through everything that you've ever subconsciously and consciously have thought or imagined or whatever. And there's so much you have to filter through as you're meditating, which is why you're never quiet at first, why it seems so hard. So once you learn to shift through your daily stuff, like, because a lot of it's backed up. So that's why I think the first few times you're trying to meditate,
Right.
it just sucks. You know, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But that's because you have so much backed up. You got to go through it all. But
That's something I need to get into is meditation.
same.
Because I know, like, with, like, the 12-step program, they tell you to meditate and stuff. Like, you're supposed to, like, you know, kind of wake up in the morning. You're supposed to pray, meditate, read a little bit from the big book, you know.
Reflect.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
I just get really bored with it.
Same.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, you know.
It is kind
and
of
I'm not bashing anyone who is, like, Buddhist or anything, but there's, like, no excitement in it, man. Like, I don't know. I'm more interested in, like, kind of like Aleister Crowley almost, like the chaos side of the supernatural and the spirituality, like the punk rock version of religion, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of Crowley-ish. Not with the evil stuff, but like just kind of like the chaos part. that's what interests me, like ghosts and demons and aliens, and it's like, you mean I gotta like learn Buddhism and Zen and sit in a room all quiet, and I don't know. I like the ritual part of like witchcraft and stuff, and the scariness, the edginess behind it. Like, oh, I'm out in the woods, butt naked by a bonfire. You know, like I don't know. I'm a freak, dude. So like, I mean, I get like the whole objective of like Buddhism is like it's very peaceful and calm and soothing. I mean, I feel like I could use that in my life definitely, but I've never actually went out and like invested myself 100% in it either, though. I do have to say that, but man, sometimes, man, like my eldest brother, I love him to death, but he be trying to talk to me about Buddhism and stuff, and I'm like falling asleep. Like, where's the dragons and the monsters and aliens in this religion? And it's like, well, it's just kind of like finding nirvana, man. And it's like, I don't know. I just find myself getting sleepy, dude. I need excitement. I don't know. I guess that's the American part of me. We want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Ain't that Roman?
I don't know. It's an American movie, dude.
No, I know.
It's just being dumb, dude.
I know. I was joking with you, like, hey, ain't that Roman?
But we got a little UFO account. We'll go ahead and throw this in here. See what you guys think. It's a smaller one, so we wanted to throw it in there too. Let's see. Not one, but 8 flying saucers were reported over the home of Mr. and Mrs. Michael Boston of Elmore County, Idaho, on the night of August 5th. The Mountain Home News carried the story in their August 10th edition. The amazing account by Mr. Boston tells how the saucers appeared at approximately 12:05 a.m. and hovered over the house until there were a total of 8 of them circling the Boston home. According to the couple, the house got very hot, and orange and green lights appeared inside the house. The saucers were blue-green on top, followed by bands of orange and white. The Bostons reported that the lettuce in the garden and the sunflowers around it had been drying up, appeared to grow and turn green. That's like some like E.T. stuff, man.
Yeah.
Remember when he makes that flower grow?
Yeah. He gives some of his life force in order to help it come back to life.
Right. What do you think? The house got very hot. What do you think? They were microwaving them or something?
Maybe. But then again, they were making withered greenery come back, so it could be just
healing.
Yes, but I'm trying to say like the hotness of the house is the energy.
Right.
Science already talks about, if energy is moving fast enough,
right,
that it causes a lot of friction with its molecules, and that's what causes things to heat up, because all of them atoms and stuff are constantly rubbing against each other, creating heat.
Well, I think another thing too, like I don't know, it just reminded me of this. That a lot of people, they only think about like the negative UFO and ghosts. Or not ghosts, UFO accounts and alien abductions and all that, but sometimes they do positive stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Like that story of the man who had an evil saucer and the good saucer came and ran it off and pretty much said, "Get away from this human!" Right.
Which one? You talking about that farmer dude or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was getting stalked by like a bad...
Yeah, he just knew
spaceship, and then the good one came and ran it off. Yeah. That shit's crazy. The aerial intruders left the area around 6 a.m., but a similar object was observed Monday afternoon traveling across the sky. The UFO was seen by Deputy Larry Oken and news publisher Lloyd S. Waters. Chicago's Today's Russ Morabito reported that several people called in to tell him a football-shaped object that glowed orange and hovered over the ground. Most reports originated in Bensonville, Lombard, and Oak Brook, Illinois. One caller wanted to know if an experimental aircraft had been launched from O'Hare International Airport. A witness described the UFO he saw over Highway 83 near Irving Park Road. And this is his account, the witness. It was shaped like a football and had a rim around it. I would say it was about 50 feet long and windowless. The object pulsated colors, first a bright orange, then gray, and then bright orange again. It was only 60 feet off the ground and about 200 feet away from me. I watched it for 15 seconds, then it flew over my car and disappeared. It didn't make any noise when it moved and left no smoke. Other motorists also stopped their cars to look at it. All the sightings seem to have occurred between 5:30 and 6 a.m. But what do you think? A football-shaped UFO, man.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool that it pulsated colors.
Yeah.
Had different colors to itself, and
It's
cool.
I picked out that story in general just because that one part where that it made like the plants grow back. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, that is, because then it makes you wonder, well, what kind of energy is it
Emitting.
Yes, to allow plants to come back from being withered.
Right. Bringing it back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we really got for y'all. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, I don't think so.
You good?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, you all have a good day. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Comment. And we'll catch you later.
Bye.
We are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.